You know, whenever there's an election, every single time you hear that dog whistle, black folks want reparations. We want what's owed to us. And then you're going to hear the same line. There's nobody alive who has ever owned a slave. No one alive who ever was a slave. We don't think it's needed. They waited you out. Waited till your great-great-grandparents died. Now they can use that line. But this is something that came on my timeline right now. And I've been pushing this for about a year or so. Get political, I don't care. That's what I do. We have a movement that needs to be started. This movement is not going to be about reparations for slavery. It's about what they did with the Red Scare. Yeah. The aftermath of Brown versus Board of Education, racial tensions rose as black folks began immediately submitting to school desegregation petitions in South Carolina. Unable to use state funding to control students and faculty at private black colleges, South Carolina segregationists turned more creative. September 9th, 1957, Governor George Bell and the Board of Education withdrew Allen University teacher certification and closed the door meeting. They would not certify the colleges to teach us. At the same time, they redlined everything. People ask, what's redlining? Well, you should know that if you listen to my channel. But redlining is when you make a place unable to get a loan for certain people, for certain races, certain cultures, certain, if you will, backgrounds. So, what does it mean, Coach? Get to the point. I got you. When looking at what redlining is, non-service is typically financial to residents of a certain area based on their race. It increased exposure to harmful emissions, worsened asthma-related outcomes because only thing can go in the area was chemicals. Looking at most African Americans, the practice of denying people access to credit because where they live, even if the person qualified for the loan, was put into place. Over this time, let's say the last 40 years, if you will, a grand total of $212,000 of wealth was denied to African Americans. $212,000. Those are people who are still here. Your family, your grandma, your aunt, your uncles, you're still around. Now you may say, well, what is $212,000? Coach, that's no money right now. $212,000 right now could mean the difference between life and death. A new car, old car, college education, or even fixing a house. This is something that was denied to African Americans over the last, let's just say, 40 years. Not going back that far, just 40 years. And by putting HBCUs, making them all redlined, there was no infrastructure being built around them, meaning there was no money going into them. And you were denying them, starving them out. That's the main issue. So before you let these idiots take over the whole thing and say, there is nobody alive who ever owned a slave, or, hey, black folks had slaves too, or my favorite one, there's no one alive who ever was a slave, at least not for that slavery. Well, before you let them do that, understand this. $212,000 per family is a debt owed. That's the debt that is still available. Now, will we ever get it? No. They prefer to keep us in the ghetto. It's Coach. I'm out.